Apparently, Tyler Perry's got a lot of women's blood boiling, and here's why.
In our society right now, black women are making a lot more money for the most part than black men, right? There are a lot of black men who are successful, but for the most part, black women are making the money. So if you can find love, if that man works, at whatever job and is a good man and is good to you and honors the house and honors his wife and does what he can because his gift may not be your gift.
Exactly.
That is okay. That's not somebody who's beneath you.
Yeah.
That's somebody who came to love you at your worth, right?
Yes.
And as long as he's secure in himself to know that, yep, she makes most of the money. All I can pay is the light bill. As long as she's comfortable enough to say, I'm going to cover the mortgage and all the other stuff. You handle the light bill, baby. You can take me to dinner every now and then. That is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
What's up, guys? It's Bad Decisions, where we watch people make
bad decisions.
It's your boy, Sherm.
Shaman J.
I'm going to start off by saying that I don't think Tyler Perry said anything wrong. All he was pretty much saying is that there are guys who can't necessarily provide financially, but they might actually come with other benefits. And what he was also trying to say is just like how women don't want to be viewed as sex objects or only for their body, guys don't want to be viewed as purely a wallet and just for their money. So I think he was trying to make that comparison throughout their entire conversation.
I don't disagree with what Tyler Perry was saying, that nowadays black women on average seem to be earning more than their black male counterparts. But what he was saying about how black women should just accept it and learn to love the man and appreciate the man for what he's offering in that relationship where it's about love, I think the issue is that it kind of goes against biology and culture. Historically speaking, it doesn't seem as though women are wired to be the providers within the context of a relationship. It's historically speaking, it's been the man who's most often been the provider and who's brought home the bacon. I know things have changed now. However, in a short span of time, since 1970 to now, till today, it's difficult to change all that wiring.
What's that old saying? There's no romance without finance, right?
Yeah, I've heard that before.
So,
yeah, exactly. Why is that? Now, again, I keep saying historically speaking because I'm not saying that this is what I believe to be right. I'm just simply stating what has been historically the case. And again, it's been that men have been the breadwinners and they've been the providers. There's reasons for that. Yeah. Women didn't have the same rights and so forth and so on. However, you see today, relationships where the woman is the breadwinner, it doesn't necessarily seem to work out all that often.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have the same result, I think is what you're trying to say. Yeah. Here's the thing, right? I don't think a woman should date a guy who's not a good provider, but there's also levels to it, right? There's a difference between there's a difference between, right? Let's say a girl, she's a high earner. She's making $80K, and the guy, he's making $60K. That's not bad, right? Relatively close. Yeah. But like I said, there's a difference between her making $100K and him making $30K, right?
Right, that's a big.
So I think you have to put that into a situation. I think a lot of times, some women will look at someone who makes, like I said, they might be making 80, and that dude might be making 60, and say, "Oh, I don't want to date him. He makes 60." That is where I say, okay, it goes to Tyler Perry's point. He might be providing other things, and he's still relatively close to what you're making, right? Opposed to the other example I brought up where he's making like significantly less to the point where, they're living two different lifestyles, right? If you're making 100K and one person's making 30K, let's be honest, their house is looking different. I also think the biggest factor in this entire situation is that normally, and I think this is the problem with a lot of people, normally you see it more on the women's side, is that they'll come with a big list. And when you have such a big list, you're going to have to sacrifice a lot of that stuff in order to get you can only hope to ever get 80% of what's on the list. If you have a list of
lucky.
If you're, and that's the best thing, right?
Best, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's so hard for a lot of people to take in because that means, no. I need somebody they need to make 5 times more, and I got to have. Well, go on, keep your list, baby.
Yeah.
God bless you. Hope it happens. Go on, keep your list.
If you have a list of 30 things, and let's say, finance is the most important, makes sense, right? You want a good provider, that's completely fine. But if that's the most important thing, and you want to make someone who's a high earner, they might not have the rest of the 29 things, if we're being honest. Right. Because statistically speaking, not everybody makes a lot of money. So you really are gonna have to pick and choose of what you want. And I think that's all that Tyler Perry is saying. He's saying that like your number one might be finances, but you might be sacrificing 29 other good things. And it's all about what's relatively close to where you're at too. You know, I just think it's a good perspective to, you know, have in place.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, no, I was gonna say he's definitely taking a risk by saying this, and he said as much when he prefaced that before he even went into his whole spiel, so to speak.
Listen, a lot of women, especially black women, and I might get in trouble for saying this, but I will.
And gave his opinion on what he, about women needing to consider dating men who make less than them and looking at other factors besides his finances, because he knows his base largely are black women.
Yeah.
And so by saying this, he knows he's walking the tightrope. Because if he says something that's a little bit too to the left, they're not gonna be liking Medea very much. So.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that with TD Jakes. TD Jakes said something, and then church service, the last church service he had was quiet. They came back, but unfortunately, I mean, let's be honest. If you're in business, you have a consumer base. You always want to appeal to your consumer base, and that's what makes it hard when you're a personality, because part of your job is to be honest. Is Tyler Perry really a personality? No, not really. But he does have a big presence within the black community. Like both my grandmothers love Tyler Perry. Like every time I go to my grandma's house, Tyler Perry is playing in the background. Tyler Perry, CNN or Fox, depending on which grandma, and Smokey Robinson.
No, Smokey Robinson. That's
he's a goat.
Yeah, but notice you said black community, and then proceeded to say both your grandmas, because his base is mostly black women.
Yeah.
I applaud Tyler Perry for saying what he said, just because it took some cojones on his part.
It took some balls.
But I will say that his opinion on marriage did come from a standpoint of marriage being primarily about love first.
But when you talk about just someone to love you and support you, I know people whose men can't touch what they make. But when you see them together, that love, that support, that I got you, babe, it's a beautiful thing.
As opposed to,
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I see what you're saying. I see where the conflict is, because I disagree with that, actually.
I disagree.
I completely disagree with it. I don't think marriage. I don't think marriage should be based on love. I think that a lot of that is marketing. I think it's all marketing and PR. All that stuff. I think marriage should make sense. That's what I'm more on the mind. Marriage should make sense. Should you have some sort of attraction to your partner? Absolutely, but it has to make sense.
No, I like that. I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah. I think because it's very broad, but I understand what you mean, because that's gonna be different for each individual, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I do think here I go again with my historically stuff, right? Historically, marriage has been largely about an exchange of resources to an extent.
Oh, of course. My bad. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So I was just saying. So for him to say, which is why it's difficult, I think, for the flip to occur. I think it'll take time. I think maybe 100, 200 years from now, maybe it'll be commonplace for a woman to be a breadwinner. But we're not there yet. This is my point. Physiologically speaking. Meaning, viscerally speaking, I mean, it doesn't seem like we're there yet.
I don't think we're anywhere close to being there, if I'm being honest.
Right.
I think it sounds like great, like buzzwords to be like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And it looks great on commercials. But I think it just, no, I think largely we're just not there yet.
We're not there yet.
So ultimately, do I think what he said is a good decision? I'm going to say yes, because he's being honest, and I think it's important. If you're such a big figure in a certain community, you have to be honest with them, because at some point when you're not honest, it's just going to be detrimental. So I commend him. I say thank you for being honest, and I think it's a good decision. What do you think? Good decision, bad decision?
Good decision. Good decision. I like to see people speak out about topics like this, and from a moderate standpoint. Because we do see a lot more content coming out about topics like this, but it can be a little more...
it's always extreme. If we're being honest, it's either you're getting the extreme, the F word over here, and then you're getting the extreme, I'm going to say the R word over here.
Exactly.
So, there's not a lot of people who, give a reasonable kind of reaction, So. It's either independent or I'm a city boy,
Pretty much. And I also like the fact that I think that his base will listen to him. He's saying his base like he's a politician.
Right.
I think his primary consumer will listen to him.
Yeah.
You understand? So.
Yeah, I mean, because it makes sense. It's not something that's undigestible. Like, he said it in a digestible way.
Exactly.
Like, when he said it, everybody was like, huh? And then they listened, they're like, okay, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. All right, guys, so this has been Bad Decisions. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you think what Tyler Perry said was good, leave a like and leave a comment. If you think Tyler Perry was absolutely, leave a like and leave a comment. We'll see you guys next time. We're out.